Today we're talking about Taylor Swift absolutely destroying the box office on her first day of ticket sales, the Pentagon starting a website for UFO information, blogger Ruby Frank's cryptic message before being arrested, and more. What's up, Internet? Welcome back to another episode of The Insight Hour. If you don't know me, I'm Digi, your host to all the things. But before we get started, watch this. The audible shrieks of terror are just so good. Anyways, Alice, what's up first today?
Taylor Swift is making waves in Hollywood with her nearly 3-hour concert film, Taylor Swift: The Eras Tour. On its first day of ticket sales, the film reportedly raked in about $37 million from 3 of the biggest theater chains, AMC, Regal, and Cinemark, falling short of records set by Marvel movies, but almost doubling the amount films like Star Wars: The Force Awakens made on its first day.
Okay, so I'm starting to think Taylor Swift is one of those women who can do no wrong. Except maybe to her exes. But hey, they got hit songs written about them. So who's the real winner here? So, first off, $37 million on the first day. I mean, I've got a friend that went to the Eras Tour but couldn't get tickets at face value. Anyway, she ended up spending $700 to a scalper for a ticket. Which all I have to say is, if you're watching this, I respect the dedication. And to all you scalpers out there, you can fuck right off. Anyways, for some context, Star Wars: The Force Awakens sold about $20 million on its first day, and Avengers Endgame did about $50 million. So Tay-Tay is sitting pretty right in the middle, like the Goldilocks of ticket sales. But the industry is only projecting a $70 million opening weekend for the movie, which feels a bit conservative, considering she's already made more than half of that projection in one day. But we'll just have to wait and see. Also, it turns out Taylor and her team self-financed this film for between $10 to $20 million. Apparently, they did approach major film studios first, but in classic 2023 fashion, if it didn't have a masked punchy crusader or a number 2 through 10 on it, they ain't gonna do it. So that $70 million will be going directly to Miss Swift and her team. And if you take into consideration that movies tend to need to double their production costs before actually breaking even due to additional costs like marketing, that's around $50 million profit. And that's just, well, good for you, ma'am. So what's next? Well, it's almost certain that Taylor Swift's movie will become the highest grossing concert film ever, beating out Justin Bieber's Never Say Never, which made about $73 million. I mean, it's got 6 weeks to hit that number, so we'll see. Are you a Swiftie, or at least planning to go see the movie? And did you go see the Eras Tour? Would you say it was worth the $700 my friend got screwed out of? Let me know in the comments below.
The Defense Department has just released a new website that will serve as a hub for all things UFO, or as they now prefer to call them, Unidentified Aerial Phenomena, UAPs. The website will be the go-to place for official declassified information, including pictures and videos.
You know, I'm not really sure that this makes 2023 any stranger. I mean, it's a little funny the Pentagon's basically saying, "Here, hold my classified documents." Let's break this down. So, the Defense Department has launched this new website under the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or AARO for short. Sounds kind of like a dog's name, doesn't it? Here, Arrow. Here, Arrow. Fetch the UFO boy. Good doggy. Good Arrow. Now, AARO is a relatively new office, and its job is to review and analyze UAPs. The website is still under construction, but it promises to be a one-stop shop for all publicly available information relating to these phenomena. They'll be updating it regularly with their most recent activities and findings. So, I'm torn on this one. On one hand, it's a win for transparency. The government is saying, we're committed to letting you know what's up in the sky. But on the flip side, you gotta ask, why is this suddenly a priority? I mean, we've got plenty of other problems with the system and society that are more broken than a UFO crash site. So why are we focusing on the little green men now? I mean, sure, the website could serve as an educational tool, raising awareness about phenomena we don't yet understand. But it's a little like a shiny object to distract us from other pressing issues. This initiative, while interesting, shouldn't overshadow the need to fix other things on our planet. Like, our planet itself. Also, let's be real about trusting the government, the body that was hiding and lying to us about aliens the whole time. It's a lot like trusting Joe Biden, the man that made it his mission to permanently saddle students with their debt, not even allowing them to discharge it through bankruptcy. Yeah, it's like believing that guy was actually going to discharge the debt. So, are you gearing up for Independence Day? Or is this just another episode of The X-Files? What's your take?
A retired teacher, Mohammed Al-Ghamdi, has been sentenced to death over comments he made online. The sentence is drawing international attention and criticism, especially from human rights organizations.
So this is one of those moments that really reminds you that Twitter isn't just a place for cat videos and memes. It can literally be a matter of life and death. Mohammed Al-Ghamdi, a 54-year-old retired teacher, was sentenced to death for, get this, 5 tweets. Yeah, you heard me right. 5 tweets criticizing corruption and human rights violations in Saudi Arabia. Now, according to the Human Rights Watch, our man Mohammed was arrested last year and had little access to a lawyer before his conviction. The charges? Oh, they threw the book at him. Undermining religion or justice, supporting a terrorist ideology, communicating with a terrorist entity, and publishing fake news. I mean, if they could, they'd probably charge him for, I don't know, not liking the national anthem too. So Joey Shea from Human Rights Watch said, quote, "Repression in Saudi Arabia has reached a terrifying new stage when a court can hand down the death penalty for nothing more than a peaceful tweet." Let's not forget, Saudi Arabia has executed at least 92 people this year alone. In 2022, they had 148 executions, more than double the number of the previous year. So they're not exactly cracking down, they're doubling down. Lena Al-Hathul, sorry, there's like a 95% chance I got that wrong, head of monitoring and advocacy at LAQST, said that this is an escalating crackdown on free speech. Even a tweet can get you killed. I guess we should consider social media platforms to be both a tool for freedom and a weapon for oppression. Freedom of speech and human rights shouldn't be just buzzwords we keep throwing around when we're feeling all high and mighty about ourselves. They're the foundations of any society that claims to be just, fair, and, well, human. I mean, the guy wasn't plotting a coup or inciting violence. He was just criticizing corruption and human rights violations. Last time I checked, that's called being a concerned citizen. But in Saudi Arabia, it's a one-way ticket to, well, let's just say you don't want to go there. So this case is a neon flashing sign saying, "Human rights violations here. Get your violations here." It's a pretty glaring example of how the absence of freedom of speech can lead to the most extreme and irreversible forms of punishment. Death. And let's not kid ourselves. This isn't an isolated incident. This is part of a larger pattern where authoritarian regimes use the law as a weapon to silence dissent. It's like they've turned the legal system into their own personal mute button. And when you mute the people, you're not just silencing their voices. You're stifling progress and innovation. You're basically putting a straitjacket on society saying, don't move, just exist. Everyone should have the right to say what they want to say, more or less. But also remember, other people have the right to dunk on you if you have a dumbass thing to say. Just saying. It's not getting canceled. That's just the exercise of free speech.
Ruby Frank and her business partner Jody Hildebrandt were arrested and charged with 2 counts each of aggravated child abuse. This came just days after Franke spoke hypothetically about harboring a dirty little secret on her Kardashians podcast.
Alice, you know, when I hear dirty secret, I think maybe someone's hiding like candy stash, or maybe they still watch cartoons on Saturday morning, which there is absolutely nothing wrong with. But nope, it never goes that way with these influencers, does it? He says in a video online. Anyways, Ruby Frank and Jody Hildebrandt were arrested at Hildebrandt's home in Utah and charged with 2 counts of aggravated child abuse. Now the fucked up thing is Frank and Hildebrandt recently released a 27-minute podcast discussing what it meant to be a victim and the idea of dishonesty. Frank said, quote, "Victim is a place where I live, a place where I have pity for myself because I don't want to be responsible for me." I mean, if that's not a Freudian slip, I don't know what is. Anyhow, the family's channel, 8 Passengers, had a following of about 2.5 million subscribers. It's been a topic of discussion among followers and online investigators for a while now, especially since Frank's oldest daughter, Sherry, cut off ties with her mother a year ago due to alleged abuse. So what do you all think about the ethical implications of family vlogging? Is it good? Is it bad? Do you watch any family vloggers? Let me know.
CNN has reported that Ukraine has opened more than 3,000 criminal cases against Russia for alleged crimes against children, including torture. Ukrainian prosecutors have documented a wide range of abuses, from murders and mutilations to forced displacement and sexual violence. Russia has, of course, denied these allegations.
This is one of those stories where a joke just doesn't feel right. It's a pretty heavy topic, but let's dig in, shall we? So, according to Yulia Yusenko, the head honcho at the Department for the Protection of Children's Interests in Ukraine, the alleged crimes include torture and illegal deprivation of liberty, among other things. And we're talking about 3,200 criminal proceedings here. That's not just a number, that's 3,200 stories of horror, each one a tragedy. Since Russia invaded Ukraine last year, there's been an avalanche of evidence pointing to Russian war crimes and human rights abuses. And let's not forget, these are children we're talking about. prosecutors documented 75 children who suffered various forms of torture at the hands of Russian forces. I mean, if this is true, it's a violation of every principle of human decency and international law. A real reminder that war isn't just about soldiers and politics, it's about innocent lives being torn apart. And let's be real, folks, the Kremlin's defense that they're saving the children is about as believable as me saying I'm the next James Bond. But while this is a sensitive topic, we need to always remember to question everything. I mean, let's be real. At this point, it feels like Ukraine is willing to say just about anything to get the Western powers charged up enough to do something. And saying that someone is hurting the children is seemingly a go-to move for people in positions of power to use. Having said that, I don't doubt for a moment that in the heat of battle, our innermost monsters come out, and that makes us do some truly horrible things. Not saying that gives anyone a pass here. We'll just have to keep a close watch and see what happens now.
Researchers have used a computer model to discover that between 813,000 and 930,000 years ago, the human population was reduced to less than 1,300 breeding individuals. This bottleneck lasted for a whopping 117,000 years and aligns with a gap in the human fossil records. The researchers suggest that this bottleneck may have been due to climatic changes.
Ah, yes, the Pleistocene era, which is totally a thing I knew about before reading this article. Maybe, sort of. Okay, so I've never heard that word before in my life. Anyways, it's a time when humanity was just a glimmer in Mother Nature's eye, and the dating pool was, shall we say, a puddle. I mean, we're talking about a time when human population was so small, you could fit it into a single high school gymnasium. And we're not talking about one of those fancy state-of-the-art gyms, but the kind with squeaky floors and the lingering smell of sweaty socks. Now, what's interesting here is the concept of a population bottleneck. For those of you that skip Biology 101, this is when a species population gets so low that it causes a reduction in genetic diversity. And let me tell you, genetic diversity is like the spice rack of life. You don't want to be cooking with just salt and pepper. Keep your bland-ass egg salad to yourself. Anyways, the researchers use a tool called FitCoal to analyze over 3,000 genomes from various populations. They found evidence of this severe population bottleneck in each of the 10 African populations they studied. The culprit? Possibly climate change. Oh yes, it always comes back to climate change. Anyways, who needs to learn from history? I mean, learning, right? Such a nerd thing to do. Come on, who the hell wants to learn stuff? You know, honestly, I think that the most important takeaway from this story is that if we were actually cut down to only 1,300 individuals, that means your partner, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever you call them, is on some genetic level your cousin.
I mean, there's some cousin lovers and some sister brother. Yeah.
You nasty. Oh, does this mean we can't make fun of the South anymore? Well, that's upsetting. Anyways, would you look at that? It's about time for you to leave. So as always, if you like what we do here, throw us a like and consider subscribing. I know a few of you have been returning to these videos, so thank you for coming back. Push the button, please. Anyhow, I love you, Internet. Stay safe, stay weird, and I'll see you, specifically you, next time.